Moi everyone and welcome to Finish Your Plate. I've heard some people claim that the cream of wheat that's available in the stores here in the US is not a good substitute for the Finnish one, that there's a big difference between the two. So I figured I'll buy a packet of both and let's do a batch of both of them and let's compare and see if that's true, if there's a difference in texture, difference in taste, or whatever. The one difference that I can see between the different brands is the cook time. This one says 2.5-minute cook time, whereas the Finnish one says 5-minute cook time. But I seem to recall seeing that there's different versions of the cream of wheat in the stores. This time I couldn't find any of the ones that have a longer cook time, but that might be possible. So if we compare the ingredient declaration on both of these, this Finnish one says that the only ingredient here is wheat, and that's it. When we look at the ingredient declaration for the American one, we see that it has wheat farina, calcium carbonate, defatted wheat germ, disodium phosphate, ferric orthophosphate, niacinamide, thiamine mononitrate, pyridoxine hydrochloride, riboflavin, folic acid, cholecalciferol. Those seem very fancy words, but all that it means that it's enriched with various vitamins and nutrients like iron and vitamin B1, B3, B6, vitamin D3. Those are just the chemical names for the vitamins. So even though the ingredient declaration on the American one is a lot longer than just wheat, I wouldn't be too worried about it, specifically because it looks like the ingredients are just enriching the product. Because we know, of course, there's a whole lot of influencers on the internet who say that short ingredient declarations are good, never eat anything that you can't pronounce, and so on and so on. And I think a lot of times that kind of talk is just misleading. So let's make 4 servings, since the package says here there's an option for 4 servings, and this package also has a 4-serving option. So let's start with 3/4 of a cup of cream of wheat. 1.5 deciliters. So 1.5 deciliters is actually slightly less than 3/4 of a cup. Not a lot. Actually, let's weigh these two. 1.5 deciliters weighs 130 grams. And this one, which was 3/4 of a cup, weighs 136 grams. Given that there could be some error in the scale, these are by weight almost equal. Let's measure 1 deciliter of each. Here's 1 deciliter, 90 grams of the Finnish one. $88 grams. Let's take a look at the difference in product. It seems like the Finnish cream of wheat is a lot wider. In the American cream of wheat, we can definitely see some more of the husk of the wheat. I think that's the husk, the darker pieces. So the Finnish one, admittedly, has been processed further. So the kernel of the wheat has been milled down further. So that could definitely lend to a difference in how it's going to be, how it's going to look, how it's going to taste. The American cream of wheat says to use 4 cups of milk. And the Finnish package says to use 1 liter of milk. So 4 cups is pretty much 1 liter of milk. And I will measure 1 liter of milk for the next batch. Both of these also say to use 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then to heat up your liquid first, and then whisk in the cream of wheat when it's boiling or near boiling as well. Now we'll keep whisking the cream of wheat in. And let's pour this into a bowl so we can make the other batch. So we're gonna whisk in our cream of wheat. Let's pour this into our vessel here. First of all, we'll notice that the Finnish cream of wheat is a lot wider. It's not just the pieces of the wheat hull that make it darker, but somehow the whites are a little bit brighter in here too. It's a little bit prettier looking if you are specifically looking for that feature, then this might be a better choice. It's also a little bit thicker. The volume seems to be a little bit less. You can see, although it's been a couple more minutes, this American one has pretty much settled down. This one is more like, almost like soft peaks kind of a texture right now. So let's do a taste test. I feel like the American cream of wheat has more of that cream of wheat taste in it. It's probably due to just the mere fact that the Finnish one has been hulled further. Texture-wise, I cannot really tell any difference. They both pretty much have the same mouthfeel, but the Finnish one, I feel that the taste is a little bit thinner. Whereas in the American one, the taste is a little bit more full-bodied, if you will. Taste-wise, I would definitely prefer the American one. But for color, if color is what you're looking for, it is the Finnish one. One of the claims that I've heard is that the Finnish one is more finely milled. And yeah, that seems to be true, definitely, given the color difference. If you're looking to use the cream of wheat in a recipe, you can very well go with the American one. There's no texture difference, and the taste is, at least to my palate, a little bit better. If you're looking for that solid white color, I don't know why you would be, but maybe if you are, then bring this back from Finland. But even if you're eating the cream of wheat alone as is, as morning porridge or something like that, even then I would prefer the American just because the taste. What can I do with all this cream of wheat now? All-in pancake. So I'm gonna take 3 eggs. I'm just gonna whisk them to break the texture. I'm gonna add 2 deciliters of milk because my cream of wheat is thicker, so if I made it just for the pancake, I would have used maybe a little bit less of the actual cream of wheat. I'll add half a cup of sugar. I'll add 2 deciliters of flour, 75 grams of melted butter, and of course you can't forget the cardamom. And I will just mix all this up. And I'm gonna butter my pan. And now I'm gonna pour the batter in my pan over here. This is now gonna go in the oven, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, about 200 Celsius for about 40 minutes. All right, and here we go. The pancake is out of the oven. So let's serve a little piece. So this was made with the Finnish cream of wheat, so it'll definitely be wider. And let's not forget some jam. I'm going to put on some cloudberry jam. And of course some whipped cream. All-in pancake. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on Finish Your Plate.